So today I have Joshua Desha, and he is a business efficiency coach, and he comes into organizations and he eliminates the noise. So how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to talk to you.
Okay, and so I always like to jump in, and my first question that I always like to ask is, what is your favorite coaching tip that you like to pass on to your future clients?
Yeah, three B's.
Okay.
Anything we do in business, it's really important whether you're talking with your employees, whether you're talking with clients, or whether you're putting in processes and procedures. The three B's are: be bold in what you do, be brief in how you describe it, and be bright in the way that you put it together. Bold, bright, and brief.
I really love the three B's. Those are easy and actionable to remember.
Absolutely.
So another thing that we are usually interested in knowing is your story about why you became a coach. And so we want to know, is it something as far as who you are as a person, or is there an experience that you've gone through that has led you to coaching?
Yeah, so I had my own business, like a lot of people. And I had my ups and downs and my peaks and valleys. I had an insurance brokerage for over a decade. More importantly, commercial insurance and employee benefits. And just like everybody else at the very beginning, I had no clue what I was doing. But it's funny because when it comes to when I call myself a business efficiency coach, the thing that strikes me is this: that at the very beginning of all of that, I was actually the most efficient. Now, I was a terrible business person, but I was more efficient because I was so keenly aware of everything that was happening. You do that when you're brand new in business. And then you get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Start to delegate things to people within the organization. And you start to decide, I have a focus. And then you start to hire people. And then processes come. And all of a sudden you build all these things on top of you. And in place of the efficiency comes all of those processes and procedures and history, and year after year after year. And now you've put yourself underneath this mountain of inefficiency. And that happened to me. And really for me, the light came on at the very end of having that insurance agency. And it was this idea that, look, if I would go back in time, and if I lived my business life the way I did that first 18 months, business would have been amazing, because I was so, again, I didn't take my eye off the ball. I was so keenly aware of the different things happening within the organization, and I was unafraid to ask people for help. And so it was an amazing time. And it's funny because, again, we tend to think that first couple of years is totally a waste and we're terrible at business. It's actually one of the best times when it comes to efficiency. That's why I got into it. I thought that, the experience I had doing this, and now how I've put together a system to help other organizations become more efficient with time, with money, with energy. It was just a perfect time to do it.
I really value what you just said about how when you get into a job, you're brand new, you ask for help, you ask lots of questions. You need to keep that curiosity going even when we've been at it for 10 years. And actually, we need to even do it more so, because we become complacent, we become in routines. We're no longer looking for what could be if we don't get curious like that. So I appreciate that.
We start to see ourselves as more of an expert than we really are.
Yes.
That's a hard thing.
That is true. And so I guess I would like to know, when you do your coaching, what is it that you provide, and what would be a good description or high-level view of your process that you could explain to someone?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, what we provide, I'm very keenly aware that each organization and individual and business person is its own entity, right? Mm-hmm. When we talk about things that we offer, there are a slate of things that we offer to help them become more efficient, but it really is tailored to the individual and what it is they need. From an efficiency standpoint, there are some processes within an organization that people get wrong a lot. And those tend to fall within 4 or 5 different things. One would be in human resources. So you'll see me a lot on LinkedIn and other places make videos and talk about inefficiencies in human resources, whether it's how we hire people, how we take care of people internally, how we handle employee attrition, whatever that would be. HR is a huge place to work on when it comes to efficiency. The second one is in the payroll process, and in this very administrative kind of sounding thing. It's funny, payroll tends to be one of these places where we put the newest people, the lowest paid people, yet it's one of the most difficult jobs in the world. It's one of the most time-consuming jobs. It's one that is nerve-wracking as all get out, right? You can't get payroll. And it is just, it is just, it is panic. It is unnerving, all the things that happen on a daily basis, and it's extremely inefficient for most organizations. The third part, again, you heard what I did before, I know benefits. So talk about employee benefits. One of the most inefficient things outside of payroll in an organization is the administration of the benefits internally. How do we ensure from an efficiency standpoint with money that we're doing the right thing? Are we contributing the right amount? Are we making sure that when someone leaves the organization that they're taken off of the roll so you don't have premium bleed? Whatever it is, it's very inefficient, and so we work in that side. The other side is risk management. From an insurance side, EPLI, workers' compensation. Do you have someone working with you on labor issues when it comes to your employees? Do you have someone working with you when it comes to unemployment claims? These sort of things are inefficient because people don't understand the vast scope of things you need to know in order to do it effectively. Lastly, it's technology. A lot of organizations, when I talk a lot about eliminating the noise. The noise comes from the fact that we have one or two people within an organization, right, that handle everything. So, Linda, you are the HR person for ABC Construction. You're kind of over HR. You're kind of taking care of payroll and making sure they do that right. You're making sure that the benefits and the broker is doing everything they need. You're looking at all these other regulations. You're having to figure out how to do that from a risk management side. And you're doing these with all these different vendors. And it's funny, you have other stuff to do as the HR person, but you're doing all of this. So much of your time is wasted getting all of these to talk. So we bring in a technology, a SaaS portal technology that allows you to have a single sign-on, put everything inside it, that just helps to eliminate a ton of that noise, ton of that extra pressure. And so those are the things that we really come into an organization and work with them on.
I really like how you mentioned how one person wears all these hats. They may work with different vendors. And so instead of doing the one thing that you're really good at, which is the human resource piece, you're trying to keep everything going so it doesn't fall apart. And so in this process that you've just described, and you're trying to get to the end destination for your client, mm-hmm. How do you know that they've gotten there with the system that you just described it with, seeing all these things happening, coming in with a SaaS solution? How do you know they're getting closer to that end?
So when you talk about the end, you're talking about their end goal of becoming more efficient, saving money, sort of thing. How do you it depends on what they initially started for. Mm-hmm. When people come and we start talking about these things, eventually they have one or two items that they really want to focus on, right? Maybe it's, look, my HR people are focused on these menial, mundane administrative tasks. When we want them to be setting culture within the organization, they can't be the culture setters if they're worried so much about getting these vendors to talk, right? So then we come in and do this. So really, the question really kind of depends upon what they're looking for. But I'll say this, from an efficiency standpoint, you know when someone's more efficient because now they have more time to do the stuff that they want to do. I think that one of the beauties of becoming an efficient organization is that, one, really you can never become too efficient. There are a lot of things that happen on a day-to-day basis because we know this. Think about a salesperson. A salesperson, when they come in, they have all these tasks that they want to do. They have all these metrics that they have to hit, right? And they say, okay, I'm going to do this for 2 hours. I'm going to make all these calls. And they do it day to day to day. And then they start making a little less. Then they make a little less. And so then you have to come in and teach them from a sales standpoint how to make that work. So they get back up to the number of calls that they needed to make. Well, you could say all of a sudden now you've kind of reached their goal, but now you become more efficient. Can I make more calls? Can I do this here? So in a business, efficiency when it comes to HR, for instance, okay, I've now taken stuff off of this person's plate. Now they can focus on these other things. Who else in the organization needs to be helped? So to answer your question, it really depends upon what that organization wants. How do we know that they've reached that end game? Are you happy with where you are right now? You know, my job isn't to continually put them into a process that has them doing this over and over and over and over again, right? The job is to get them to come in, see the inefficiencies, fix them to the point where they feel comfortable that they are being as efficient as possible with time, energy, money, and then it's time to walk away. A lot of people don't get to that point, but many of them do.
And so you're right. You want to get them to a place where they can do all those things and recognize when they have more time, when they can focus on these other things. And then when you walk away, to keep that same process that you've worked on sustainable.
That's right.
It isn't about ramping up the number of calls to do more of them. It's finding that capacity to work on the things that they need to work on and not do the things that they don't need to be working on, to delegate those to the right people.
And I think that's the bigger point, right? The idea that we can come in and help people see the places that are inefficient, give them the tools and the resources to make them more efficient. But then have they reached the end? Well, it kind of depends on how they feel about the process and the sustainability of what we've set up. There are many people who want us to come in and say, okay, we need you to set this process up and then please get out of the way.
Yes, and that would be consulting versus coaching. Coaching teaches them how, consulting
That's right.
tells them how. So
Absolutely. And so it just kind of depends on what they want.
Okay. And so when you're working with your corporate clients, what qualities are present in an ideal match of a company that you'd like to work with?
So what are the qualities of a corporate potential client that allow me to know I want to work with them?
Yes.
Okay. Well, look, from a corporate standpoint, we have to have the decision-making executives understand they need the help.
Yes.
It's difficult sometimes, right? It goes back to the whole business ownership thing. At the beginning, we know we need the help. In the middle, once we've had some success, it's difficult to see it, right? Because this is what I do. It's comfortable, right? Yeah, John does all that extra work, but we're very profitable. Our profit margins are higher than they've ever been. Therefore, you may see an inefficiency here, but it's not really affecting me. So is there a pain that's requiring them now to have an open mind like they did when they first started the business? Sometimes they see it right away. Sometimes I come in because of that pain. Sometimes I come in because someone said, hey, come in and talk, and I have to help them find it. It's all about, are they willing to notice the pain that's there? And so that's really, it's hard to determine who it's going to be. I've talked to groups that had 11 people who I could talk one-on-one with that individual, and they never got it. And then I go to the group that has 900 people, and after the first 5 minutes, they say, oh my gosh, I need help. So it's not about size, it's not about anything. It's about the ability for that person to kind of clear out the mess that's there and see that they actually do have a pain.
You are exactly right. There's got to be that desire or willingness that there could be something better, even though they may be experiencing good times, they could be experiencing better.
Well, and the struggle with a lot of them, right, is they've talked to someone like me before. Unfortunately, a lot of people in that space, in the business coaching world, business mentoring, they have a difficult time being 100% truthful with someone who has a lot of power. And one of the things I bring to the table quite a bit is I do it with a ton of empathy and a ton of understanding, but it's very real. Here is what your process is. Here is where the inefficiencies are. And inefficiencies in time, energy, and money are costing you.
Okay.
And if you can do that, if I do that with an organization after I've gone through and done my analysis and they push back on it and say, you know, I don't really need help on it, then thank you so much. Here's my card. Please call me when that pain is something you can't bear anymore.
Yes, I like that approach because there's no point in going in to give something to someone who doesn't want it or think they need it. And,
that's right.
And so you want to work with the clients that want to do those things because there's plenty of them out there. So
absolutely.
That brings us to our last thing. If a company would like to work with you and have you come in to help them become more efficient and to work on being bold, brief, and bright in how they do it, how should they contact you?
So the best way to get a hold of me outside of just giving me a call is going to be go to my LinkedIn profile. It's linkedin.com/eliminate the noise. LinkedIn is an amazing place, and I'm able to really get to know people, really get to know the business owners. It's a great place to go. So if they will go there, they can reach out to me there. They can send me a direct message. They can connect with me. They can set an appointment right through it. That's probably the best way to do it.
All right. That sounds terrific. You've given them an easy way to get a hold of you. And so I'd like to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Linda. It's good talking to you.